Ahoy VC, welcome to the Blind Island. I'm Isaac, still in the midst of transitioning and moving all of our stuff. I want to say thank you so much to all of the people that have reached out during this time where my wife and I have both been kind of scrambling to get everything together. It's a little difficult right now during this hard time for everybody, but lots of great things are happening and I can't wait to share with you the new space that we're going to be having for our record listening, and it's going to be just great, phenomenal stuff. So yeah, just thank you so much to everybody out there who has been sharing love and support during these times. And it's been crazy, like lots of good stuff happening. I won the Music Man's musical pilgrimage. Rachel, thank you again so much for that. I did reach out to you, I sent you a comment, and I hope to be hearing back from you soon. Thank you again. It was such a wonderful contest to be a part of. But the purpose of today's video is actually a first here for the Blind Island, and that is to receive some VCLT. And I received my first VCLT from Logan at Swellhead Vision. If you haven't checked out this channel, which I know that a lot in the VC probably have, but if you haven't and you're newer and you are still looking for some new channels to follow him. He is always showing, he has a crazy breadth and depth of taste. Goes from death metal to country pop to regular 60s rock to hip hop. The guy just knows it all. He has wonderful taste, and I really enjoy listening to his videos because he has such in-depth knowledge, and that's the type of thing that I want to be portraying in my types of videos. So first and foremost, thank you Logan for this amazing VCLT. So to give a little background information on Fraction, they were a group that was primarily recorded in 1971, comprised of 5 members who were working class Joes. They had day jobs, then they would primarily get together at night and practice their songs, try and make them as perfect as possible, play a couple of gigs here and there, but then they would go back to their day jobs. And when they did finally secure the ability to record in the studio, it was for just one 3-hour session. During that session, they cut all 5 tracks to this album. No overdubs, all pure put to tape. It was recorded old school, and wow, the results for having such an incredibly low budget are incredible. The band went on to dissolve just because they weren't really going anywhere, especially since they were a Christian group. It's kind of in the same vein as today. If you're a Christian group and you have a raw, visceral sound, there really isn't much of a market for you. You're too religious for secular radio, and you're too raw for the Christian radio. So you end up alienating all possible audiences according to record label heads, and then you wind up dissolving. So the album was only pressed on 200 copies. It then disappeared into the ether and was just recently in the, I would say maybe late 90s, early 2000s, rediscovered over in Europe. They started doing some reissues, and finally America is caught up. I started listening to this, I would say early last year. It came up in Spotify generator, and man, it blew my socks off. But that's enough for the album background information. Let's get into my thoughts and observations. The 5 tracks that are on here work so well together. I know that I spoke about it pretty much at length in the video that I did for my top 100, but they are just so interlocking. The vibe and feel of them resonate so perfectly from song to song, and the lead singer's vocals are haunting, ethereal, and monumental. A lot of reviews that I've read for this album compare his vocals to Jim Morrison, and I can definitely hear that, especially in the haunting, poetic nature of it. But I would have to say that his voice is far more gravelly, and it perpetuates this idea that the depths of knowing God's inner being comes with a price. And I guess when you put it in conjunction with their faith, it makes it sound even more haunting and even demonic at points. There are just certain tracks on here that you can feel yourself quiver and shake, and you can hear the band is just laying out their entire soul on the threshing floor and waiting for you to pick it up. I would say, as far as lovers of psychedelic fuzz, you're going to be loving this album. The fuzz pedal is getting a heavy workout on here and just getting shredded all over the place. Percussion, there isn't much to write home about. I would say that the rhythm section is holding a very solid beat, but that's not what this music is really about. It's about diving deeper and deeper into the depths of how dark the sound can become. And then the mystical Christian lyricism is absolutely transfigurative. I love just reading those lyrics, and the fact that they are abstract makes it so much better. I love it when you can have your own interpretation of a song rather than someone literally spoon-feeding you the meaning of the lyrics. And while I definitely love that style of songwriting, some of my favorite story songwriters are usually like that, but in the case of a band like this, it works so much better and far more to their credit to just continue to be layering within abstract, strange fields that many other Christian bands wouldn't dare to tread. So overall, my thoughts and observations on this is it is like if Black Sabbath continued to play around with the ideas that they did in a little bit in Masters of Reality, where they came out with a couple of more Christian tinged tunes to try and get away from the idea that they were this satanic band. This is what, it's very similar to Fraction. It's very similar to that. And this band is delving into the same types of dark territories that those early heavy metal groups were starting to wade into. Now, I'm going to give a couple of track highlights. Since there are only 5 on here, I'm going to just recommend that you listen to the entire album. It's a very brisk 30 minutes. It's going to go by very quickly for you. But if I had to just choose 2 tracks to share with you, I would definitely choose Come Out of Her as the first choice. It's 4 minutes, maybe about 5, and the vocals in it are haunting, the guitar work is incredible, and it is just an absolute howl. to give some basis for why it's so transfixing is it very abstractly tells the story of Jesus pulling a demon from a woman infested with demons. And when you hear that howl of come out of her, it is like someone going into a deep, dark night of the soul. And it doesn't have to necessarily be related to that story for you to understand what that feeling is like. It's incredible. And then I would have to go with the final track on this album, This Bird. Clocking in around 8 minutes long. It is spine tingling and so epochal. It just rises out of the earth like a big giant just monument to where death metal and black music was going to be headed. And that is what is so funny, is that this Christian group was laying foundations that other bands would be going into for a long, long time. And yes, it does have slower moments, and it is a mid-tempo album, but overall it is very heavy and visceral, and the feel of it is heavy. I love those two tracks, and those would be the highlights that I would recommend to you. Come Out of Her and This Bird. My final thoughts on this record is that it has some very, very finite, rough edges. I have been singing its praises for this entire review, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there is only one track on here that I feel that the lead singer gets a little too self-indulgent, and it's called Sons Come to Birth. But it's nothing wrong with the track. It's just more about his vocal delivery. Something about it just feels slightly off. I mean, and that's only for portions of the song, not the entire. So if I have one tiny criticism, it would be that. But overall, this is just an absolute psychedelic, heavy, proto-heavy metal masterpiece. Super good, so incredible. And like I said, just because it's one of my favorite albums doesn't mean that I think it's a perfect album, but it touches me and it helps me feel God's presence in ways that I don't quite even grasp sometimes. And I believe that other people, if they give it a chance, they'll be able to hear it too. And so again, this is my opinion, but I'm gonna give this album a 4.5 out of 5. Near perfect, got some edges, got some rough patches, but that's what makes the album even better in my estimation. So what did you guys think of this VCLT in review? Did you enjoy Fraction Moonblood? Have you heard of him before? I know that it's been shouted out in the past by Dylan at Noble Records, which was incredible. I love the fact they did that. Incredible album. And incredible channel. I know that he's like the superstar of the VC, so no shout outs are even required there. But love his work, and I love his channel so much. But yeah, what do you guys think of Moonblood by Fraction? Let me know in the comments below. Logan, again, thank you so much for this VCLT. Be on the lookout, guys. Hopefully by the end of the week, I'm going to be posting some vinyl finds from May, or April, I should say. It's going to be a short list, but it's going to have some heavy hitters, so be on the lookout for that at the end of the week. And I want you guys to all have a great day on your own personal oasis. Cheers.